As real estate
Whoa.
agents, we're talking with buyers all the time, and they're talking about they ask about the real estate bubble. So we want to talk about that this morning. And Billy, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. For the first time, I witnessed you aging in live time. The pen was in a top pocket, and I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?"
Yeah, Billy hammered me yesterday, and when I put a pen in my top pocket, and Lisa's been hammering me about having a pocket in my shirt. I'm not wearing one today, but ladies and gentlemen, watch out as you age. Things happen like this.
There will be signs, just like the property
Things,
market. We're on. Want to be on the verge of an explosion and not even know about it. So we're going to bring you some insights this morning.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
look,
get this question a lot. I get this question a lot.
before we go any further as well, I just want to say, as a community, um, hearts out to the the communities affected from Sunday's events. It's been plenty of it was a solace day yesterday in Sydney, and I just
Mm.
think without saying, recognising our hearts go out to the families, to the people, to the communities that have been affected. So respect.
Yeah, big time, big time.
But on with this real estate topic, Billy. What do you think? Do you think the bubbles? Can you feel bubbles? Coming on. Can you feel a bubble coming on? What are your thoughts? What do you know?
It's funny, right? We get there's data from every different angle, hundreds, thousands of sources, all sometimes
Yeah,
contradictory. What we do know is that Sydney, Northern Beaches, DY, there's lots of little micro markets that even make up a wider market. So sometimes when you're comparing an apartment or a specific price point, or Northern Beaches or Sydney, you've got to take into consideration there's these little micro markets, and it's certainly not one answer fits all. My forecast for the year out is actually really good, but we're not here necessarily just to talk about that this morning. We're talking about just a general bubble. And we hear this so much. So we've got some good data to share this morning, and it comes from a really cool website.
I love it. I love it. I think it's and one of the ones I showed Billy this website this morning is like, where, oh my God, this is awesome. So
Yeah.
we're gonna flick over to it in a sec. But I do have to urge and stress property owners that are out there. This is probably people's singularest, biggest um, investment they're going to make in their life.
Mm.
They have all their eggs often in one basket, and we want to talk about that basket, the safety of that basket. Food, shelter, stuff like that. It's so important to our communities. But the backbone of a bubble, I think, is supply. And I think when you look at, Billy, you've always said supply is the enemy of capital growth. I think when you look at supply in most of our areas, it is very low. So I think where a bubble can happen is if there's too much supply. And certainly we know in Sydney, it's an undersupply of properties. So that sort of bubble word really, I don't, I think it's probably misused because a bubble explodes. I've never seen the property market do that. I don't think it's the right word for the market.
No, we do see corrections, don't get me wrong. But often the corrections are on the back of a bullish market. And so the correction then is to, realign. But even in the back of some really strong bullish markets, it's never actually gone backwards. Sure, it's tapered off, but it's the market correcting itself. Um, yeah, supply and demand is a big thing. Sydney's trying to build 28,000 homes a year. to reach its sort of housing target. Sounds a lot, but there's a heck of a lot of red tape with that, and they are behind at the moment. They are behind, and then you've got to look at where are those homes going into. There's some suburbs that are going to take a lot more density than others, and so I think that's a reason why you've really got to do your homework on the area you're buying.
I was talking to one of Sydney's biggest gyprockers yesterday, and he was saying the cost of gyprocking an apartment has gone from 18,000 to 42,000, 45,000 actually, I think it was. So it's pretty interesting that, you know, on the back of building costs, it's pretty hard to generate any supply into our market because it's just so expensive to build. Stacking the numbers is hard.
Yeah. Let's get this little website up. This is cool. Let's get this up. Take a look.
And for some reason, we love comparing ourselves to America, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is funny. So this is Visual Capitalist, the website. If you want to jump on and play around with this, I believe you can just go in and search any topic you like. Correct?
Yep. Yeah, I love the hot topics. You can browse by the hottest topics for the month. And for real estate, if you want to learn about real estate or economic or big or just headline stuff in the world, it actually visualizes it for you. Whereas I find with news, it's short words, and then from the short words you go into a big topic, and a lot of words. But this is it's pictures. Everyone loves
cool.
pictures.
So total wealth by country. I mean, this is 2019, but you know, we're a pretty big player on the world map for the size of GDP and population.
Yep.
You know, like to have Sydney in and amongst some of the best regarded real estate in the world is very impressive when you look at it on a map like this. For the size. You know, total wealth by country in 2019, Australia was sitting at 2%, 7.2 trillion. Mark, what's the numbers on Sydney? What's the numbers on Australia property value and super?
$10 trillion in property values, and $4.4 trillion in superannuation cash.
So there you go. You know, those numbers have adjusted. And another one here, we're going to just handpick these. We thought this was interesting as well. I've got to do a bit of a share screen here. Not that one. Not that one. Here's another one for you.
This is technically challenging you, Billy.
Have a look at this one.
Please explain.
Real estate ownership by generation. So from 1991, they've tracked the age of property owners and then taken it through to 2025. A huge shift in the silent demographic, the 80-year-old plus. I don't want to sound morbid, but I think there's been a huge amount of generational wealth handed down, and it's interesting. Millennials own less than 2/3 of real estate.
I think, and again today we're talking about the boom, the potential busts of property. I think you can see the way our property market's supported. You know, when you see something like this, and you can see the trend is probably morally right. You know, the oldies are dying off. The eldest generations are dying off, and it's going down in its manner. You can see the baby boomers have been consistent. Their wad or their chunk in that market has been consistent through the period when they should be property owners. You can see that takeover of Gen X and the millennials into that market. And again, a beautiful constant curve over 30-year period that sits, maybe 35. So it's really funny that it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's harder. It feels like it's the impossible dream for property ownership. It feels like the bubble's coming. But I think the reality, when you look at, our markets, it's not the case. It's just the 50, 70 years. Like, we're sort of, it's, yes, it's hard, but it's hard equally for everyone. And it was hard for our parents, and it will be hard for our kids, and it was hard for us. So it's quite interesting that, with all that media and all that data and all the, information that's out there, that I think property's still safe and property's still good.
The assistance schemes as well to get in have never been better either. So, there's some really good stuff there to take up if you would like the help. We've had a lot of views on YouTube this morning. Thank you for tuning in. 26 people tuning in on YouTube. Thank you.
Cool.
But
Thanks, everyone. But that's it, guys. So that's the property market, Northern Beaches, DY, Sydney, Australia. Talking a little bit about it today. Talking about the bubble. Yes, it's and I do like our sector because I find it's relevant to a lot of parts of Sydney and Australia. So it's a good cross section of lots of different markets. Northern Beaches makes up. So I can hope what we've said can apply to other markets.
Yeah, and on the ground, the momentum's carried in really strong to the end of the year. We had a very late spring this year, so we're getting out a lot later, and we're going to be getting in, I think, a lot earlier this year. Consumers are ready to go, queuing up.
Big time. And I think that, don't forget, and I've been saying it, I think houses have performed perfectly. And I think units have actually severely underperformed in strata, in Sydney, in markets. So I still think there's legs, and there's a full tank of petrol for apartment strata sales to continue their growth that they've had recently.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. Have a good one. Cheers. Take care.